These are unprecedented and extraordinary times for the hospitality industry. Travel has taken a massive hit, and so have the industries dependent on it. Tourism, leisure, MICE, corporate travel, every sector.
As we still demand, you need to ramp up marketing and reach planners beginning to daydream about rebooking for business events and planning vacations. And when travel demand finally strengthens, you need to increase marketing efforts, focusing on intent as well as targeting the right demographics and feeder markets with the right messaging and packages. So let's start by looking at the new world in the new normal. The most telling of all trends would be the rise of hybrid events. Events where hotels need to be prepared not only with safe meeting places, but also cutting-edge broadcasting and hosting technologies, as planners are increasingly interested in hosting events which are a mix of face-to-face and virtual technology. Smaller meetings would continue to grow, as social distancing norms come into play and travel confidence taking time to come back to pre-COVID levels, the event sizes are anticipated to scale down. Planner and attendee safety would be top of mind of every hotelier once travel resumes. Some real-life examples are the world's largest hotel chain, Marriott International, embarking on a project, We Care, which will entail new standard operating procedures for its guests and staff. The chain has identified 200-plus touchpoints at its hotels where it will make changes to meet the new health and safety challenges. Usage of digital tools like even social tables will allow hotels to give virtual site visits to planners and also use its diagramming module to ensure social distancing norms will increase. With the aim to ensure minimum handling points on F&B, hotels will need to revisit their overall F&B strategy. Having more sanitization stations in the kitchen, packed meal for events, and buffet limitations. The last 2 points are more strategic in nature, which will have long-term implications. CBBs and DMOs are your best ally in times like these, as you both are working for the same objective, attracting more visitors to hotels in a destination. Finally, we'll cover what steps you need to take to instill confidence in travel managers. Creating a virtual experience shouldn't be taken lightly. Things like tech glitches and background noise can disrupt an event. It's critical to test run the environment to assure a realistic and seamless live stream. A few key things to remember. Optimize your venue's AV capabilities in terms of AV technology, power, and Wi-Fi. It may be beneficial to partner with an AV company. Communicate in advance with event planners to understand their requirements. Assess if you have adequate power and internet bandwidth. Lastly, test, and test again. This includes primary acts you're taking to keep attendees safe. Hotels and venues are beginning to implement new programs and policies for sanitization and cleanliness. Hilton, for example, is taking measures like contactless check-in and adding room seals to each room door to notify that the room has not been accessed since its last thorough cleaning. It's possible that in the future, hotel rooms may come up with certifications to assure sanitization. Hilton is also doing things like increasing the frequency of cleaning and providing guests with disinfecting wipes. Disinfection of the most commonly used areas is another focus of their heightened cleaning protocol. When events begin again, standard operating procedures should include social distancing and protective equipment, temperature checks and other testing, isolating and contact tracing, and sanitization and disinfection of common and high-traffic areas. Also consider adding policies and procedures for workforce contact tracing following positive test results. It will likely become an expected norm for venues to be equipped with thermal scanning. This will be a must-have. Having this capability will add an element of risk for attendees. When it comes to planning, a key strategy is to use digital event diagramming tools and virtual planner tours. Not only are they easy to use in a remote setting, they also provide the transparency required by planners and facilitate communication across vendors. Like it or not, this new era in hospitality requires new mandates around site visits, event planning, and social distancing during events. According to Google Trends, virtual visits are on the rise. This is a sign that hotels need to be ready to provide a digital tour to planners. Overall, it's a good thing. Virtual tools save time and allow hoteliers to sell remotely, which improves efficiency. It's also a good way to give the planner the look and feel of being in the space and provide them with a photorealistic 360-degree model of the environment. Food and beverage is another area that will require creative solutions from hoteliers once in-person meetings begin again. When it comes to F&B at events, self-service buffets will not be viable options for quite some time. Seated dining could be an alternative as long as staff members are trained in sanitation and food handling measures. These added steps and extra layers of caution could result in additional costs to F&B. Some cost-effective solutions could be pre-packed meals that attendees can pick up from multiple locations, or box meals already placed at their seats. Harvard University, for example, suggests serving food in individual units like bagged lunches in water bottles and staggering serving stations. Convention and visitors bureaus and destination marketing organizations are some of hotels' biggest allies in this restart. They'll continue to play a big role in enticing people to visit locations once travel restrictions ease. Planners initially connect with CVBs or DMOs to tap into a wealth of local expertise and relationships. This allows them to get much of the initial legwork done quickly and efficiently. These organizations also supply hotels and venues with high-quality leads, and they're prepared to help hotels work with planners. This factor is a vital consideration when hotel staff are small and impacted. The group business leads that come from CVBs have already been vetted, and the CVBs will continue to help facilitate the partnership even after a response has been sent. When working with a CVB or a DMO, there are a few things to remember. Number one, pool your content, resources, and expertise. It will help you get up and run more quickly. Number two, keep your CVB updated. Let them know about your health and safety procedures and how you're planning to keep attendees safe and secure. Remember, they're your allies and a powerful resource as group business begins again. Just like meeting planners, travel managers also form a large portion of business for many hotels. Here are a few steps to ensure they stay safe. Place an emphasis on duty of care. The CEMA 2020 Travel Manager Report found that 4 in 10 travel managers cited employee safety and well-being as a primary challenge. Duty of care is a top priority for employers, which means travel managers must constantly review health and safety policies, as well as ensuring all staff are aware, prepped, and educated before leaving the country. Market to local preference. As we head into a post-COVID-19 state, flying, whether domestic or international, may be difficult to navigate. Whether or not travelers will have to do a 2-week quarantine every time they land in a foreign country is uncertain. From a health perspective, travel managers might be hesitant to put staff on flights due to risk of transmission. Travel managers may be looking at domestic travel rather than international. Develop dual travel or virtual programs. In this virtual connected and health cautious world, we may see a shift in how business travel is managed and prioritized. Instead of companies sending multiple staff members, they may have some attend meetings virtually. This means hotels may see fewer travelers and an increase in virtual participation. Monitor travel manager preference for hotel type. The CEVA 2020 Travel Manager Report found an opportunity for lesser-known hotels to gain a place in travel programs. As one of their 3 preferences, 47% of respondents chose independent hotels and 33% chose boutique. In addition, less than 3 in 10 chose service apartments and sharing economy. Whether this trend will continue in a post-COVID world is uncertain. Hotels will need to communicate with travel managers about health and safety protocols and provide clear cancellation policies in order to earn a spot in their travel programs. Lastly, ensure transparency with buyers. The CEVA Travel Manager Report highlights a strong need among travel managers for openness and integrity. While the top-ranked negotiation challenge was rate increases year over year, the next 3 all relate to the reliability and accuracy of hotel communication. For example, 36% of hotel chain account managers did not convey company information to individual properties. 36% stated lack of transparency during pricing, and 32% of bids were not in accordance with the requirements of the bid submission document. So to summarize, travel managers want to engage with hoteliers to optimize their program. And when we polled travel managers at a recent virtual event, nearly 72% of the attendees expected to source in Q3 or Q4, with 16% expected to source in Q1 2021, and the remaining expecting to skip the sourcing season. Companies are planning for their recovery and preparing for travel to resume in 2021 by sending RFPs to their preferred hotels. It really is the start of a new era, and we need to adjust the way we do things. So let's take a look into where we are going. We have created a CEVA supplier network checklist for you to take care of the important items like user experience and sales hygiene. Within user experience, a few things that you should definitely take care of is making sure that all the relevant people in your team have access to your CEVA supplier network account. Within sales hygiene, do ensure that your team is responding to RFPs on a timely basis and ensuring that the bids are as personalized as possible. Moving on, these are a few profile and reporting checklists. Within profile management, do ensure that your profile is complete with all the relevant images, and if you have any, make sure that you're uploading your promotions to your profile as well, as they help in attracting more planners. Within reporting, make sure that you're looking at your competitors' profiles to assess how your profile ranks versus them. Do also ensure that you're leveraging all the reports that are given to you inside your CEVA account to assess your performance so far and also to identify improvement areas. To summarize, a few important items you should check off before restarting your business include preparing for hybrid events, leveraging your CVB or DMO, and focusing on small meetings. If you're interested in reviewing the Hotel Manager's Guide to Restarting MICE and Transient Business, the download link of this resource is added to the resource link. Feel free to download your copy. Make sure to use this downtime to sharpen your skills with CEVA's certification program for hospitality professionals. The good thing is it is free for now. You can find the registration link on the console. We understand many of you are short-staffed, so there are a lot more things that we are doing for our hospitality customers, such as training and certifications for your team, help you with unresponded RFPs, and update your profile content. Let us know if you need our assistance, as we're happy to help.
Thank you very much. We have a learn module today, and this is the module which has been used for F&B for all kind of service recoveries. Yeah, so service recoveries means if any guest comes to us in the hotel or in the restaurant, and we do have they do have some sort of complaints. Now the complaints are very much in one particular thing, that any restaurant or a hotel will get a certain kind of complaint. Either it's depends on system, sometimes it depends on a human error, sometimes it also depends on mechanical issue, as well as sometimes there is a food problem, as food is not been tasty, or there is some service issue which guest asks for something and does not happen. So in that case, this is very important that we should follow a learn model. A model of the learn is very, very important, because that's how you will come to know whether it's been feasible, if the guest will gonna return to you or no. Because learn model is the one way, if you follow this learn model in each and every service industry, whether it's a hotel, whether it's some other industry, still the learn model has to be followed. Because in that learn model, if somebody has followed it in a very good way, effective way, that will make sure that the guest will come back to you again, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a hotel, whether it's any of the service industry. So we will discuss today about the learn model. This training might take 20 minutes for your session. I will not take much of your time. We come to know what exactly you should do whenever there is a complaint. In a complaint, if you're in a service industry, the complaint will happen, as I mentioned. All right, so let's discuss what is the learn model all about. Okay, L is for listen. So we will discuss more about our listening skills, what exactly we need to listen, how we need to listen. That is very, very important. So the listening skills is the much important role played in case of a learn model. Second is empathize. Empathize is different from sympathize. Sympathy will come whenever there is some people has lost something. So that is sympathy, like someone has lost their life, so we can sympathize on him, sorry to say, rest in peace and all the things. But empathize is the thing when you place himself or yourself in the person's shoes. That means how I will feel if this thing happens to me. So that is the very, very important thing, and this is not called sympathize, it's called empathize. Yeah, so we need to mention to the guest what we have to mention as empathize. That is we were going to learn about. Third is apologize. Everyone knows apologize, but just say sorry about it and then let it go. It's not work like that. Yeah, so everyone know the word as sorry, but apologize in a very effective way is very important. Anytime there is a complaint about anything at all. The next one is respond. What is the complaint all about? How you gonna respond on it? If it's a very genuine complaint, or it's a complaint about anything as a silly thing which a person or a guest are making a very big out of it. So that is very, very important for anyone to respond on that. So the respond is very important, and effective response is much important in the case if you want the guest or the person or the customers to come back to you. Fourth is notify. If you don't notify the thing to the particular department or a particular person, then of course the complaint will remain as it is, and it will be repeated to the same guest as well as to the other guest as well. So the notification is very, very important. And plus the notify is also been done, like what action you have taken, you need to inform the guest who has complained. So that is also a very important thing that everyone should know, and everyone should notify to the guest and as well as to the particular department. Yeah, so these 5 letters are gonna change how you're gonna process your things towards any kind of complaint. Let's carry on. All right, listen. Now listen is the content which has emotions involved in that. Yeah, so emotions is very, very important, because whenever you are listening, the person is already either very heat up, he is very much angry. So we need to know what you are exactly listening to. So please let him talk, never interrupt in between. Just say yes, or just say I acknowledge, or yes Mr. Smith, yes Mr. Tara, yes Mr. Singh. So you just acknowledge the thing in the same time. Manage distractions. If any distractions are there, if he is making a very loud noise, you need to make sure you tell him or her, sir, can we just go in the corner, sit down, and we can talk about it. Yeah, so that I can listen to you very carefully, listen to you what you are exactly saying, so that I can take action accordingly. So you need to explain to the person and keep listening, make notes, and clarify the questions if you have anything. So the listening is very, very important. If you take notes in that type of listening, it is very, very important during the listening session. So because if you listen and you forgot, and there are some certain points which he has mentioned but we did not note it down, so we cannot able to clarify his things in the end. So we need to ask questions whenever he finished, that so you have a problem in the food, the taste is not really good, in the taste you find it more salty, and it is not really really cooked, it was undercooked. So these points, if the guest has mentioned, then we need to make sure that we notify this, and we make notes and clarify if any questions we have. Second is empathize. Empathize is a kind of thing to identify with another person's feeling. We need to say that I will really feel how you are feeling right now. I can really understand how you are feeling right now. So these kind of words, we have to use it in case of any kind of things happens, so that the people will know that you really feel how you are. If I am eating the chicken curry or the veg curry, and if I find the very salty, of course I will feel the same how you're feeling. So these kind of things you have to mention whenever you are after listening to the person, listening to the guest. The empathize thing has to be there, and this process is actually works very effectively. Then the third comes apologize. Apologize is not just saying sorry. Yeah, apologize is I statements. Yeah, sincere body language and tone and professional words. I really apologize for your inconvenience. Yeah, me myself, I feel sorry about that, what has happened to you and your family. I really feel the same thing if this thing happens to me, and I can sincerely apologize for the things. Your body language to be in a positive way. You cannot just stand and say or nod your head. You need to say in a certain kind of humble words, and you need to have a posture which is a humble posture, which you have to use it with the professional words. Sincere, apologize. You can also use certain kind of words that I really truly feel how you're feeling. So I feel sorry about that, what you have to go through. So these kind of sentence will actually make him calm down, and actually he will understand that you and the company is feeling sorry about what has happened to him. It can be a system error, as I mentioned before, it can be a human error, but this is very, very important that everybody should use these kind of professional words, so that the person will understand, and he will also calm down. The words will actually make the person calm down. Next, the respond. The respond is very, very important. So give me a minute, give me an hour, I will make sure that this thing done properly, instantly, right now or itself, or give me 15 minutes, give me half an hour. If it's case of food, give me a few minutes, because the food, the guest is waiting. So give me a few minutes, let me just take it to the chef and I'll make sure that the veg curry is been make out properly and give it to your table instantly. So the respond is very, very important. Now we need to think about guest reactions to the problem. This is the thermometer which you have seen a lot of time, but guest reactions are different for different things. If the guest is fine, the guest is just saying some things in a very polite way, guest would just like the problem to be fixed and has confidence that it will be, so fix it. So that is the very yellow column which I have mentioned out there in the presentation. Second comes guest is mildly upset. And guest will be fine with immediate help, fix the problem immediately and consider offering special touch. So that's the guest having a mild upset. So of course, like the food is little salty and it can be done, so fix it. And the first one, which is yellow, the guest is fine, that means guest is just giving the comment, but still it's a complaint, it's something which he has a troublesome. And the third and the last one is guest is very angry and upset. The guest has lost or missed out on something important. Fix the problem using the highest level of recovery, personal touch required. So for example, guest lost baggage from the reception at the time of check-in in the hotel, so he has a very important document, so that is very, very, and the guest is getting very hyper, very upset. So we need to make sure, we need to calm down the guest and tell the guest we will make sure personally, give me a few minutes just to be at your home and you should take action immediately. And after the action has been done, then we need to apologize and do the personal touch as such, like sending along with the things, give a business center pass to be used for 1 hour for free, something like that, or give a light tea or coffee offer from your side to be served in the room. So it is very, very important that you should know what kind of things has happened, gone wrong, and what action to be taken as an immediate effect. Then notify is the main thing when you have to fix the problem. So other associates or department, guest tracking system, so all the things, once the things are fixed or once they are supposed to be get fixed, you need to notify to the particular department. For example, if the guest luggage has been lost, we need to notify the front office for the concierge as well as for the security, so that both the department can be notified immediately and they can track down the system, what has happened, where it went wrong, is it the guest mistake, is it the associate mistake, or is it in the tracking in our system is something went wrong. So that is very, very important, so that the people can take the good thing out of it and make it not to be happen with the guest in future. Alright, so let's go to the conclusion. The conclusions are very, very simple. As a guest will be come back to you, as it is very important that the guest should be notified and the things here are done in a proper way, so that the guest might be upset in that time, but how you do the recovery process is the main thing which makes the guest feel better, and definitely he will come back, because if it's a smooth thing and nothing goes wrong, sometimes the people tend to forget. But if it's not a good thing, not happens properly, but the people of that organization, either in the restaurant or in the hotel, has taken the quick action which makes the guest feel better, because the important document was lost. He also don't remember where he put it. So, but we find it out, we give it to him, and then we also investigate further that what extra we can do for him. We have given a pass for a business center free for 1 hour. So these kind of things is add-on things to the guest, and guest will feel happy because the guest will make sure that this thing happens in a particular way, and we need to make sure that this won't happen to him or to any of the guests again. So that is very, very important, and that's how we conclude the thing, and so that our guest will come back again. And we will make sure if you follow this procedure, the guest will definitely come back, because if the guest will come back, our business will grow. That's right. All right. So if you have any questions, anything, just ask me by the end, and that's how we end the session today. I hope you have all enjoyed.
Abdominal thrust. Right? Clear, sir? Yes.
You'll use a combination of back slaps and chest thrusts to help remove the object blocking the airway. Hold the infant face down on your forearm. Support the infant's head and jaw with your hand. Give up to 5 back slaps with the heel of your other hand between the infant's shoulder blades. If the object does not come out after 5 back slaps, turn the infant on his back, supporting his head. Give up to 5 chest thrusts using 2 fingers of your other hand to push on the chest in the same place you push during CPR. Repeat giving 5 back slaps and 5 chest thrusts until the infant can breathe, cough, or cry, or until he becomes unresponsive. If the infant becomes unresponsive, do the following. Place the infant face up onto a firm, flat surface, then shout for help. If someone comes to help, have that person phone 911 and get an AED. If you're alone and you have a cell phone, phone 911 and put it on speaker mode. Provide chest compressions in the same place as you would for CPR. After 30 compressions, open the airway and look in the mouth. If you see an object in the mouth, take it out. Give 2 breaths. Each time you give breaths, check the mouth for an object and remove it if you see it. Repeat giving sets of 30 compressions and 2 breaths. After 5 sets of 30 compressions and 2 breaths, if no one has come to help and you do not have a cell phone, then take the infant with you and phone 911 and get an AED. Use the AED as soon as it is available. Keep providing 30 compressions and 2 breaths, checking the mouth for an object after each set of compressions until the object comes out. The infant starts to respond, or someone with more advanced training arrives and takes over. Give only back slaps and chest thrusts to an infant. Giving thrusts to the abdomen of an infant could cause serious harm. Any infant who has been given back slaps and chest thrusts should be seen by a healthcare provider as soon as possible.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we will have a training on the coffee. Yeah, coffees are basically a very known beverage at the moment. And anyhow, my name is Rajiv. I am a F&B manager, and today we will do a discussion of small things as coffee. Now let's start with the history of coffee. As you can see, the history of the coffee is the coffee story begins with a very distinct story as such, which is saying like it's basically a goat, and at least it's a legend basically. Now, it has been said that the Khalki, an Ethiopian goat, means they are just gathering the goat, and they are just taking the goat farm as such. They have noticed that the goats become little bit of frisky after eating certain kind of shrub. Now that shrub was basically a coffee berry. Now that the shrub berry of himself, he just have it by himself, and he feel the buzz as well. So it's actually having a caffeine, so which strikes it. So that's how the future of the coffee was been secured. Now, originally, coffee was a food, not a drink. Earlier in the East African tribes, mixed of coffee berries, the unhulled beans, also called as coffee cherry, with the animal fat forming energy balls. Sometimes looks like primitive power balls, and they have been called as power balls because it is full of caffeines. The coffee also grew in the Arabian Peninsula, and it was there that it was first developed into a hot beverage. As you can see, it's in only in 1000 AD, and by the 13th century, the beverages actually been invented. And before that, the coffee beans has been used as a power booster food as such. So in the let's carry on with the 13th century. The Muslims were drinking coffee frequently, as whirling dervishes of the early Islams may have been fooled by coffee. So the Arabic coffee are the most ancient part of the coffee, which you can say it has been invented. So let's go to the coffee varieties. There are two kinds of beans which are available in all around the world, and which is basically Arabica and Robusta. Now, Arabica and is a very high quality beans, which you can see in the picture itself. It's a little bit longer in size, little bit of a lighter version in the color, and Robusta is a little bit of shorter in size and a little bit of darker in color. So both the beans are really good, but Arabica is basically beans which comes in a higher quality. As you can see, Arabica is a descendant from the original Ethiopian coffee trees. The coffee made from its varieties of mild and aromatic. It's the king of coffee and account to have about 70% of the world coffee production. Now these coffee trees grows best in a higher altitude. So there are basically coffee beans comes in a higher altitude because the temperature has to be a little bit of cool, and the coffee trees are a little bit of big shrubs as such, so which can go up to a tallness of 6 to even 12 feet as well. So these are grown in a cooler weather. As of in India, you will find coffee trees mostly inside of beside Bangalore in India, because the temperature over there are more cooler. So these coffee trees grows best in the high altitude between 2000 to 6000 feet from the sea level, which you can say 610 meters to 1829 meters. As Bangalore, in that region, it's in the hills, in the plateau, it's a perfect weather for the coffee trees to grow. Mild temperature is also required between 60 to 75 degree Fahrenheit, which is like 16 to 24 degrees Celsius, which is really a good thing to have it in that particular climate in India. But of course, we will carry on. We will discuss more about the major countries which produced coffee beans as such. So let's carry on. About 60 inches, 52 centimeter of rain per year is required to have Arabica to grow. So the heavy frost will kill the Arabica coffee bean. So the temperature really does matter, the climate does matters to grow coffee beans, especially Arabica. Let's go to the second type, which is Robusta. Now, Robusta is a coffee tree which represents 30% of the world's market. And the beans are smaller and rounder than the Arabica beans. Robusta is a hardier plant and can withstand with warmer temperature as well. So, which is like a 29 degrees centigrade. It can really grow in that climate as well. It can also thrive in a lower altitude than Arabica. Robusta beans produce a bitter tasting coffee with about 50% more caffeine than Arabica. You will find Robusta coffee trees in Southeast Asia as well as in Brazil, but it's nowadays both the coffee beans are mixed and blended together. You will find 30-70, you will find 80-20, you will also find 100% Arabica, those who are very good quality expensive coffee, which you can have it as such. So the Robusta is making economical sort of coffee because it's quite cheaper as compared to the beans of Arabica. Let's move on. Now there are 10 different coffee producers all around the world, starting with Brazil, who has the largest coffee producer all around, then followed by Colombia, then Indonesia, Vietnam, Mexico, Ethiopia, India, Guatemala, Kodlov, and as well as Uganda. So they are the 10 major producing countries which can produce, basically they are producing the whole for the whole world as such. Let's move on. Now the basic, as we mentioned, we will discuss today the basic of the coffees. So the first basic and the mother of all coffees is espresso. Now espresso, what is espresso? Espresso is a very strong coffee, but what is exactly espresso is? Espresso is a coffee of Italian origin, brewed by forcing a small amount of nearly boiling water under the pressure through finely ground coffee beans. Espresso is generally thicker than coffee brewed by other methods, has a higher concentration of suspended and dissolved solids, which also produce a crema. Crema is the foam, which is the having a creamy consistency, but it's also a coffee, but that's a crema is very much important for espresso. Espresso is also the base of other drinks such as cafe latte, cappuccino, cafe macchiato, mocha coffee, flat white, and as well as americano. So the espresso plays a very important role. As you can see, we are very much in espresso nowadays, but the origin is basically from Middle East, where the still now the Arabic coffees are really in a popular way. But we will not discuss much of the Arabic coffee now. And there is other brand which is also called a Turkish coffee, which is also a very stronger unfiltered coffee as such. We will also will discuss in our next classes as such, but for today it's espresso. And let's carry on what they derived, what are the different kind of coffee comes out of espresso. As you can see, the types of coffee which espresso can be used to produce is espresso itself, and then we have espresso macchiato. It's basically a little bit of milk foam comes on top of the espresso. They are both of them served in a in espresso cup basically. And then we have espresso con panna, which have a little bit of whipped cream. It's quite tasty as such. If you are not fond of sugar, you can add a whipped cream on top of the espresso. It's really amazing taste. Then followed by our famous cafe latte and flat white, which are basically steamed milk with a milk foam as such. So in the flat white there will be no foam as such, but in cafe latte there will be a little bit of foam Then we got cafe brew, which is also a half steamed and half and half is steamed with milk foam, and espresso, which is also a good coffee but not really hot. It's a warm coffee, so you might not find much of this over here in the Asian countries, because the Asian prefer to have a hot coffee. Then we have famous cappuccino, with the milk foam is a little bit higher than the normal steamed milk, which also the base is espresso. Then we have cafe mocha, which goes with the chocolate syrup along with the espresso, and then you can put a whipped cream on top. It depends on choices and all, but the same thing with the milk foam will be there as well with the steamed milk. And then we have our black coffee, which is americano, so which is espresso and water only. So these are the basic good and famous Italian coffees, you can say, but it's world famous nowadays, and people tends to have it. And in the Middle East or in the Eastern, in the Arabic countries, the most popular are Arabic coffee as well as the Turkish coffee, so which is also a good coffee, that's which I have not mentioned it here. So these are the coffee which are available in the hotels in Asian countries, and even in all around the world nowadays, because of the popularity. So it's a regular black coffee in the front, then we have espresso and ristretto is a very typical, very strong coffee, very strong, you can say it's the half the quantity of the water which has been used to make ristretto. Now the coffee remains the same, 8 to 10 grams, depends on what kind of machine we have and what is the brewer, how you want to make it. So but the ristretto is more stronger than espresso, and then goes with cappuccino and cafe latte. So these are the basic things which is quite famous as such. Now let me tell you one important thing, which is the caffeine quantity is less in ristretto, and which increase gradually with the addition of milk and water. So your black coffee or americano will have a more caffeine than espresso, and cappuccino and cafe latte will have a more in quantity of caffeine. So if you are a caffeine conscious and if you love coffee, go to change your habits to have a ristretto, which is will be quite been good for health, and as well as you can find it much more good, less acidic for your body. Let's go. We do have one more option, which is a decaffeinated coffee. Is the coffee beans itself, which will be all the caffeines will be washed up by, we do have a good technique as such, so which before the roasting of the coffee beans happens, so the coffee it's been washed up the caffeine, so you can still enjoy the coffee without the caffeine totally. But of course it's a we need to use a little bit of chemicals in there, and so decaffeinated coffee can be made as such in the factories, which has been very popular for the few people as such. Some people has an allergy with caffeine, so they can go for the decaffeinated coffee as such. So if you have any questions, you can just put a comment below. We can able to do a lot of trainings as such with the similar way for yourself, for your company, waitresses, for the freshers, for the colleges. So please do comment below, and if you need anything, myself and our hotel will able to help you out to give certain kind of specific trainings as such. So thank you very much for your time, and hope to see you again, and we will do trainings like this nearly about every day. Thanks for joining in the live session. Bye. Good afternoon, everyone. As my name is Rajiv, I'm the F&B manager out here. As you can see, today we are standing in the bar, and today we will discuss a very good topic of as such, the cocktail, the golden rules of great cocktails. This training is might be a little different from other training cocktail trainings as such, because as you can see, it's I will discuss today some of the golden rules which every bartender should follow. and it is something which is very much necessary for everyone to use it, even though you are not a real barman, which you can display, which you can have a showmanship. But there are certain rules. Even though you are a showmanship, you have a good showmanship, you are a flair bartender, you know how to do a zigzag, but there are some golden rules which everyone should follow as such. So today we will discuss something about that. And thanks for coming by in my channel. And this is a training which is dedicated to all F&B staff, and as well as to all the people who are working in the bar, even though they are not a barman, but they are working in the bar. So there are good rules, golden rules, which everyone should follow. And this training might take 15 to 20 minutes, so please listen to this very carefully, and you will come to know a very good things at the end of the session. All right, let's go ahead. The golden rules of great cocktails. Yeah, a great drink always goes better with a smile. Yeah, so the smile thing is much more important whenever you are in the bar and you are making some drink as such. Always use ice scoopers. Never scoop ice with a hand or a glass. Glass are more fragile, they can break in the ice, and at the end you might getting a harm to the guest. So please use ice scooper every time you are in the bar. Fill the glass to the top with a good and clean ice. Yeah, so sometimes there are ice which are down, which are broken as such, so try to avoid those ice if you are filling it up. It can be good in the base, but on the top it should have ice which are whole thing. Never put anything in the ice but to the ice scoop, but the ice scoop, yeah, and the outside of the bottle, because if it's the ice, you should put only the ice scooper in there. But like outside of the bottles, store and pours, and the wine bottles are unsanitary, do not belongs to the ice, so please try to avoid those things as such. Always use the proper glass even if you haven't it cleaned by yourself. So if it's not clean, you have to clean by yourself. As you can see, I have a martini glass and it's been cleaned thoroughly, and it has been presented very nicely as such with a martini. I'm taking a apple martini, stir not shaken, so that's one of the thing as such. Let's go ahead with never reuse a glass for a second drink. A guest is always provided with a fresh glass for each drinks ordered. So if you have a beer order going on, you try to offer him the beer glass, a second one, if he's not going by the bottle as such. Never place a drink down directly onto the bar. You should have a coaster or a napkin if you don't have anything. So if it's in the bar, so you should put something underneath of this thing, so that you can able to make him as a gesture as such. Do not put on the counter as it is. So it's also a good golden rule which everyone should follow. Everyone should follow as such. Drinks are always with the appropriate garnish you should provide. There are some hotels who don't allow to put garnishes, but there are some appropriate garnishes as such. If your glass, if your drink is having a lemon, you can put a lemon wedge or lemon slice. But in the drink, if you don't have lemon at all and you put a lemon garnish on top, it looks very inappropriate and it will be not give a good gesture to that. Okay, the beer is served in a chilled or frosted glass whenever possible. A fresh glass is offered for each beer order, as I mentioned before. Bartenders must always use jiggers. Yeah, the jiggers to measure their pours. A free pouring is only allowed in properties that have implemented a training program and conducted daily pour tests. So if you're not sure about it, and if you come to the bar and for the first time, so please try to use it as a jigger, because the jigger have a proper measurement and it will help to you to make a proper drink, and as well as the guest will be happy. It will be not go very low light or something like that. They can use it. Let's go other part. Never guess a cocktail recipe. Now if you have a doubt and if you have something which you think that it might be go here and there, so for the standard recipes, please follow up. There's a Google available, there is a internet available, so please look up the recipe and before you make it, so that there should be no alternative, there should not be no guests should not come back to it, it does not taste as appropriate as such. So please use the thing which is appropriate. Always follow, sorry about that, the phone is keep on ringing. And okay, always follow a proper drink making techniques. If it's shaken, make it shaken. If it's stirred, make it stirred. If it is blended, so please do not mix with the shaken and the blended, so because it will affect the taste of the drink, so you need to be very careful on that. Fill drinks to the proper serving level, about 3/8 inches from the lip of the glass. That's a very tricky thing, yeah. You can see this martini is 3/8 inches from the tip of the glass. It's not over full and it does not look empty as well. You can see the other glass as well. This glass is also similar like that, so you need to be very careful whenever you are pouring, and if it does not go on that level, you can ask the guest if you want to put some ice there, so it can level up with the same thing as such. Never serve wilted garnish. The garnish has to be fresh, it has to be looks fresh. Sometimes the lemon, if you keep it for overnight, it goes here and there, so please try avoid those kind of garnishes as such. Always check back with the guest to see how their drink tastes. That's a very important thing, because if you give the guest the drink and you don't follow up, so that is a kind of interaction which guests also like it. And if you do that, if they have any twist and turn, they can always tell you and you can make the drink as per their choice, so which is a very good technique. And these are the golden rules which everyone should follow, even though you are a bartender, even though you are not a bartender. So it's a very important thing that you should follow these golden rules, and it is very important that these golden rules is applicable for the bartender and for the people who are behind the bar, even though you come out for the bar for the first time. But these things can be used a very give your guest a very good gesture, a very good interaction, and they will be impressed with only doing this. So if you are making some a bar setup in your home, and if you think like you're a bartender, you follow these golden rules, which actually helps your guest to be very happy. All right, so thank you for your time. So this, I will not take more time than that. I think it's only 5-7 minutes. In 15 minutes I will finish it up. So thank you very much. If you need some more details, trainings as such, please comment below, and myself and our hotel will be conducting these kind of trainings to your all employees as well as associates. And please comment so that myself and my hotel people can communicate with you and give you a virtual training. These are the basic trainings, but there are very theoretical trainings we can provide. I am a certified WSET, so I can able to do a lot of wine trainings as well to your colleagues, to your associates, and then we can further discuss on that thing as such. So do comment below, and hope you have enjoyed this session. Yeah, thank you very much. Have a nice evening.